Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Stayntouch Product Enhancements, version 5.53, Assign Chain and Multi-Property Users a Default Property Group, Enhancements to the Availability Screen, and more, presented by Stayntouch Product Manager, Britt DeRoche. I'm your host, Erin Fisher, the content writer here at Stayntouch. Today's presentation will cover how you can get the most out of the Stayntouch PMS version 5.53 product release. In this webinar, we will demonstrate that the group rooms report is now exportable via CSV and has been added to scheduled reports, illustrate that the group cancellation pop-up text has been updated, show that the arrival and departure time updates when reinstating a no-show reservation, highlight enhancements to the scroll bar on the budget screen, demonstrate enhancements to the date row on the availability screen. And then finally, we have two features in pilot. You can now illustrate that you can now filter by individual hotel, hotels in a chain, or by property group on the availability screen. And you can also now assign chain users and multi-property users a default property group. We will have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation, and feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation, and we will answer them in the order they are received at the end. And that's all I have right now. Britt, I'm going to hand the presentation over to you.
Thank you, Erin. Let me share my screen. Just making sure that it is the all right. So I've logged into my demo property, and from here, I'm going to move into my menu, reports, and reports again, as I'd like to review my groups report, rooms report. So my groups rooms report is found here. I can search by it by using the search bar, and I'll be able to pull the report by selecting the report, selecting the date range of when I'd like to use and pull the report for which date range. Let's say just for about a week's time. I'll be able to select a particular hold status if I'd like, and sort by group arrival date or hold status. I'm going to just keep that open, run the report from here, and go to the inbox. And as you'll see that whenever the system is ready with pulling the data for the group rooms report, there's now the option to export the report in CSV by using the purple icon here. The report will be exported in CSV, and we'll be able to open the report and review in Excel. It would look approximately like this. Moving back from our menu into schedule a report or export. From here, we have now added the group rooms report to be scheduled, to be delivered automatically to your email, for example. I'll be able to select the report to verify the parameters of when I'd like to set up the report to run which data to display. Let's say last 7 days, all hold statuses, sorted by, I'll leave that open, and the export format is CSV. I'll be able to say I want to have it run by end of day 3 a.m. and I want to have it delivered via email. Please note that SFTP server, Google Drive, and Dropbox are also among the options. If I select email, I can add an email address in this box here, and when I hit enter, I'll be able to create the schedule, meaning that I will now receive the group rooms report in my email after the end of day has run. I'm moving on to the next feature released, which is the group cancellation pop-up text. For that, I'm moving into my menu, groups and manage groups, where I'll find my Gulf cruises groups. Here I'll find the hold status as now defined as definite, but when I change it to cancel, this pop-up is now populated. It indicates that 4 reservations were attached to this group and will be cancelled and returned back to the hotel's inventory. I'll be able to add a cancellation reason, and I'll be able to proceed accordingly. The group reservation status would now be changed to cancel. Moving on to review a no-show reservation. I have a no-show reservation in the system under Sylvia. I'm going to select the reservation, and as you see here, I will be able to reinstate the reservation by clicking on reinstate. And by doing so, I'll be able to find rooms and rates to let the system check which rooms and rates I would have available. When I would select rates and select the rate that I'd like to apply, the system will give me the option to add add-ons, which I'm going to continue, and the notification that is now shown has been released, notifying you that the arrival date cannot be less than the business date, meaning that we can actually update the times here and continue accordingly. To confirm the reservation and move into the stay card. Moving from one shell to the other, we'll be able to see the budgets feature. This budgets feature is released as it now makes it easier to scroll through your budgets. As you can see, I have moved from my menu into financial and then into budgets. From here, I'll be able to review my budgets. As you can see, with the newly introduced scroll bars, I will be able to easily scroll through the budgets. When moving back into my other property, selecting the dashboard and then moving into the availability screen, I'll be able to review the availability screen with the first bar shown, which now features the date and the bar rate. That will be frozen whenever I move through the availability screen. As I enlarge every single segment, I'll be able to actually still see the dates on top. So as you can see here, I'll see the dates on top, and when I move through the availability screen, I'll be able to easily see for which dates, which particular rooms will be available, or for which rooms group reservations have been created. All right, moving into our features in pilots under our chain dashboard, just continuing the session to log in as a user. Please note that as confirmed, these features are in pilot, meaning they are not ready for release. Please contact your client success manager to get the latest update on when these functionalities will be ready for release and therefore ready to be tested by your property. We have introduced the ability to add product groups to users. So if I would select a property and log into that property, moving from the menu into settings and settings again, this is where I'll find the user. Settings under hotel and staff, user setup, all users. I'll be able to find my user and 6 hotels that have been associated with my user. I'll be able to select my user, and as you can see, we have introduced a default property group. Once this property group has been assigned, it would allow us to review the property in our availability screen as a multi-property user, together with all of the properties that are part of my chain and the default property that has been set up and associated with my user. So when I move back and close the window and open my menu to return to the dashboard, this is where I'll find the availability screen on the right-hand side, and this is where I'll be able to review these 3 levels. First, an overview of my default property. This is where I'll be able to find my rooms available, rooms sold, and information on groups and allotments. I'll be able to toggle between the days, a 7-day view, a 14-day view, or 30-day view. Additionally, I'll be able to review all properties a part of the chain associated with my user. I'll be able to open the property by selecting the property, selecting another property, and so forth, allowing me to review the occupancy and available rooms. The available rooms are also shown by clicking on the down-facing arrow, allowing me to review a more detailed overview. Just allow me to refresh and reopen the availability screen to switch back to all properties a part of the chain and review available rooms. So when I move back into the Tier 1 hotels that I had associated as a group to my user, I'll be able to review the properties that are part of that group. So for example, opening up this property and reviewing for more information. As said before, this is a feature in pilot, so please contact your client success manager for the latest update on the release of this feature. Thank you so much. That was our release notes for this release.
All right, thank you, Britt, for that insightful presentation. I'd now like to take to the floor for questions. Remember, you can submit questions through the question box in the middle of the control panel. So I'll give everyone a few seconds to enter those. All right, since there are no questions, I'd like to take to the floor to offer some final thoughts. All right, so in this webinar, we demonstrated that the group rooms report is now exportable via CSV and has been added to scheduled reports. We illustrated that the group cancellation pop-up text has been updated, showed that the arrival and departure time updates when reinstating a no-show reservation, highlighted enhancements to the scroll bar on the budget screen, demonstrated enhancements to the date row on the availability screen, and we reviewed features in pilot, including filtering by individual hotel, hotels in chain, or property group on the availability screen, and the ability to assign chain users and multi-property users a default property group. With that, I'd like to conclude our presentation. Thank you all for coming, and if you have any additional questions, feel free to email me at erin.fisher@stayntouch.com. Thanks again.